Coming up on this portion of the journey, I get into the great state of Colorado, visits to Colorado National Monument, Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park, and Garden of the Gods. And as always, lots of hiking and free dispersed camping. Enjoy. All right, camera's back on. It's 5:30 p.m. on Sunday, July 25th. Had a great visit in Salt Lake City with an old friend of mine I haven't seen for 15 years, and was able to get Marissa safely to the airport, so she's back to Hawaii via a quick visit in Seattle with a friend of hers. And last night I had a great camp. I was about an hour east of Salt Lake City in the Wasatch National Forest, and it was really nice right next to a stream. Very quiet, slept great, loved that spot. Today I made tracks all the way to the Colorado border, so I'm only just 10-20 miles past it. And I did stop along the way towards the end of Utah near or at Dinosaur National Monument. It's run by the national parks. Really interesting stuff. Apparently it was in the Jurassic era. A river used to run through that area, and a lot of dinosaur fossils were collected by that river. And once it dried up, all those fossils kind of caused a logjam, and eventually 100 years or so ago, a lot of those fossils were discovered, and so now you can actually go visit the site and see a lot of those fossils. So that was a really cool experience. Glad I stopped. And today I made it all the way out into a Bureau of Land Management area in the Fruita Desert, which again is about 20 miles east of the border of Colorado and Utah. And it's hot. It's beautiful scenery, but it's hot. It's still over 90, and so right now I'm just going to go up in the tent, lay down, and try to cool off. Wait till the sun goes down a little bit, and then make some dinner. All right, it's a little bit after 10 a.m. on Monday, July 26th, and I slept in a little bit this morning because last night was kind of rough. Marissa actually texted me. The weather was deteriorating, and there was kind of a storm blowing through, and there was a flood warning, and so that was kind of scary, and so I just kind of was on alert, and it was kind of tough to sleep. Luckily, I didn't really get rained on, and obviously there was no flooding, so all in all, it was fine at the end of the day. But today I'm heading towards Colorado National Monument, which is only about 20 miles from where I am now. Gonna check that out and then move on eastward through that area and try to find a place to camp later. What a beautiful place this is. and it's quiet too. There's not that many people here, which is great. So I'm into the place and stopped by the visitor center and got my trusty brochure, and I got a plan. Basically gonna stop here for lunch, enjoy the views, do most of the drive through the area, which I think is about 20 miles total. Towards the end, which should be early mid-afternoon, there's a hike, short hike down there that I'm gonna do, and basically just try to take in as much as I can. It's about 2:30, and I'm on a hike that used to be one of the gravel roads through this area. It's 1.7 miles out and the same back in. It's hot. It's almost 90 degrees, so I brought a lot of water, got my map. It's a really easy trail to follow. Man, it is absolutely gorgeous out here. If you live in Colorado and haven't been here, make sure to change that. And hopefully I'll be back again at some point because it is gorgeous. It's getting on 6 o'clock, and I found another campsite. I'm out on some BLM land again. That's about 20 miles east of the Colorado National Monument, and I really like the spot. I've got good internet. It's nice and quiet. I've been here for about an hour. Haven't seen another car, so I think I'm really going to enjoy it. It looks like the weather is going to be about the same. Little thunderstorms in the area. Hopefully I don't get nailed, but we'll deal with it if it happens. So anyway, now just gonna do some relaxing and grab some dinner and call it a day. It's Tuesday, 10 a.m. on July 27th. Had a great night at this camp spot. It was awesome. Only one other car drove by. It's about 20 miles east of Colorado National Monument. Hope to come back here again. Great scenery, nice and quiet. And spent some time up in the tent this morning, taking advantage of the internet service and editing some video footage of the time in Wyoming. Now I got about an hour's drive going towards the next national park, which is Black Canyon of the Gunnison Forest. And so, yeah, I got about an hour to get there. Morning.
How are you?
Good, you?
Perfect. Looks good. How about a map today?
That'd be great. Have a good one. Thank you. All right, I'm into the park and I got my map / brochure, and I'm at my first scenic overlook, which is absolutely stunning. This place already looks gorgeous, but I gotta eat, so I'm gonna take some time, look over this, and grab some lunch. All right, so it's about noon, and I've driven all the way through the portion of the park that I am going to today. I entered through here, and then I'm driving. I drove all the way to this high point, and I'm gonna go do this short little hike to the highest spot in the park. And then along this road back, there's lots of basically a series of different tiny little hikes that you can go and get really good views of the canyon. So I'm going to pick a couple of those to do on the way back, but I figured I'd try to go get this quick hike in before I got even more hot. And there's more to be done down here or up here, but I don't have time for that today, so I'm just going to do this little part right here. Perfect little hike, about a mile out, and then I'm on my way back right now. So about 2 miles in total, and the views were spectacular at the end. So the juice was definitely worth the squeeze on this one. I'm heading back now to the car. I'm gonna go try a quiet place to read and cool off before I head to see some of those scenic viewpoints on the way out. Right, it's a little bit after 3 o'clock. I'm just having a quick snack. I'm back at the visitor center, and I'm gonna fill my water bottles and then head on to find a place to camp tonight. But really awesome park, small, manageable, lots of good short trails, lots of beautiful views, so highly recommend. All right, it's about 6 p.m. and this is what I got for a campsite. Pretty happy with it because I didn't even get in the national forest after a couple hours of driving till about 5:30 or 6. So the spot I was aiming for was about 500 yards up the road. There was people there. They were really nice. They said that they didn't think that the road went any further than where they were. So I turned back around and snagged this spot. And it took me a while to get it level, and it's not even perfect, but I don't care. It's close enough using a rock and having to dig a hole on the other side. So it's really nice, actually. It's nice and cool, which is great because I've been in the canyons for a couple nights. So I'm going to sleep great tonight with the weather nice and calm. There's even a little stream, which I'll turn the camera on here in a second and walk down there and show you. So I'm going to get a nice, soothing sound of water rustling by the campground. I wish I could see it, but I guess you can't get it all. So anyway, I'm just going to turn the camera around and walk down to the water and show you guys that. And then I'm going to cook some dinner and call it a day. right, it's Wednesday, July 28th, about 6:45, and I'm just leaving this camp spot, which I loved. Slept great last night, a little bit of light rain and some thunder, but that put me right to sleep. And today I'm heading to a place called Hanging Lake, which I think is only about an hour or two away from where I am at the moment. When I was researching things to do in Colorado west of the Rockies, this is one of the things that came up, and it looks gorgeous, so I'm intrigued to check it out. And I think it got about an hour or two drive to get there. So after a couple of months of this road trip, I made a conscious decision to do as little amount of research as possible before going to visit something, because I realized after a couple of months I was spending so much time with research and I didn't like that. And so every once in a while I get burned and my lack of research comes back to bite me. This is one of those times. So Hanging Lake, you need a permit to go visit, which I was unaware of. Luckily, I was able to get the last spot today, which is not until 4:30 p.m. So I have some time to kill. It's only 9 a.m. So now I'm just at a rest stop about 10 minutes away from Hanging Lake and just trying to figure out what to do with the rest of my day. I'm sure I'll figure out something. Quest to see Hanging Lake update. It's about noon and I decided just to have a lazy day today. And so first I went back into the town near here and uploaded the last video with the Wyoming footage to the YouTube channel. And now I'm back at this rest stop. It's nice and quiet, got good internet service, and I'm just basically spending the day catching up on trashy TV shows, which I am thoroughly enjoying. This is Hanging Lake, and this is not. This is where I am. I started to get nervous this afternoon as I did look on the website for Hanging Lake, and it said that in the event of foul weather, they would cancel your reservation and refund your money. And weather looked fine, but the last couple of days, I don't know if this is normal for this time of year, most likely it is. Last few days, storms have developed over the course of the afternoon, and if you could see behind me, it gets gray over there. And so there was a thunderstorm watch put out for the area. So I showed back about a half hour before my 4:30 reservation, and the nice young lady there told me that unfortunately, because of the thunderstorm watch, they had to cancel all the afternoon reservations. So Hanging Lake and I were destined not to be today. But all in all, anyway, just an enjoyable off day, as it were. And I'm in some BLM land, which I drove around for a little bit and found a nice little camp spot with a pretty good perch, good shade from the wind, and internet service. Views decent, not great, but decent. So I'm pretty happy, and I'm just gonna try to grab a shower, get something to eat, and call it a day. Right, it's about 8 o'clock on Thursday, July 29th, and I'm at a rest stop just off of I-70 heading east this morning. I wanted to get a few miles in before I pulled over and made some coffee, so that's what I'm doing right now. And today I'm heading towards a place called Garden of the Gods, which is about an hour south of Denver. It's supposed to have some really beautiful rock formations and a really beautiful park that's really near to Denver. So that's the last thing I'm going to check out before I end up heading into Denver to see some friends later on in the day. All right, so it's getting on about noon, and I'm just on the outskirts of the park, just swung by the visitor center and grabbed a brochure. It's pretty busy, even for a weekday, but it seems to be free, so I'm happy about that. And just pulled over here, like I said. I'm gonna grab something to eat real quick and then have a look at the map and try to figure out a hike or two to do this afternoon.
You do know that's kind of pointing that direction, don't you? Okay.
You guys have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks. All right, I'm into the park, and it's absolutely gorgeous in here. It's kind of reserved for people who are climbers. They have to get permits if they actually want to get on the rocks. All of us regular old civilians, we just have to use the sidewalk. So I'm just trying to find my way through the park and maybe try to get like 2, 3, 4 miles in, something like that. Lots of people out. It's gorgeous, but it's also hot. So I'm doing my best to stay hydrated and burn some calories and enjoy the beautiful scenery. So I made it all the way to the other side of the park, and on this side it doesn't appear as though there's any rules about scrambling up the rocks, since it's not anything like the faces of them that are on the other side of the park. So right now I'm just kind of doing some scrambling and enjoying the views. It's absolutely gorgeous out here, and it's a lot more tranquil on this side of the park than it is on the other side, a lot less trampled. So really enjoying this side for sure. Garden of the Gods, what a beautiful place. I can see why they call it that. It took me a little while to get away from the throngs, but once you do that, it's absolutely gorgeous out here. And I think that's it for me for Western Colorado. I gotta head to Denver here in a few minutes to see some friends over the next few days. And I gotta help my parents move some of their initial stuff out here to Colorado because they're moving out here. And so that's it for me on Western Colorado. I'm gonna turn the camera off and look forward to catching up with some friends and family over the next week or two, and then I'll be back on the road.